All right. Okay. All right. Okay, welcome everybody. Just want to welcome everybody to the July Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition meeting. My name is Councilman Willie Lightfoot. I am City Councilman at Large, Chairman of Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition. I am also, we'll start with the room first, since there are fewer of us in the room than there are on Zoom. But I appreciate all of you for attending this meeting tonight. Very, very important meeting tonight, and coming off the cusp of the gun violence clergy summit that we just recently had in June. And we're so excited about so many of you joining with us in partnership with working on educating, advocating, and eradicating against gun violence within our community. I see so many faces, new faces, and I see some familiar faces. And we're gonna go around the room in just a moment to do very, very, very brief. I'm gonna ask you to do very, very brief introductions of just your name and maybe the organization that you're representing, or if you're representing just yourself or whatnot tonight. But before we do that, I'll go around the room here. Hopefully you can see everyone here, but to my left, can you introduce himself?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Miguel Melendez, City Council President.
Chris Peoples, National Community Organizer.
Karen Jackson, now concerned citizen.
All right, now we'll go through our Hollywood squares, starting with Tabara.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tabora Marcus from the City of Albany's Neighborhood and Community Services.
That's Albany in the house. Is that what I heard you say, Tabara?
Yes, Albany is in the house.
Welcome. Rico.
Yes, hi, my name is Rico Jemison, retired New York State worker of alcohol and substance abuse. I'm on tonight because one of my church members kind of encouraged me to be on. So I go to Zion Dominion Global Ministries here in Rochester, New York.
Yeah, I believe one of our staff members from City Council, Adrian, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Told you. So we're so grateful that she invited you, and welcome, sir. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. God bless you also.
Josie.
Josie McClary from Monroe County.
All right, Michael. Welcome, Josie.
Michael Curran with ATF Rochester.
All right, welcome, Michael. Michael Williams.
Thank you for having me.
Pastor Mike Williams, Albany, New York, Albany Community Land Trust Gun Prevention Project, live and in color.
Land Trust, Albany Land Trust in the house. All right, Helen.
Yes, I'm Helen Morano here for myself, but also in representing the Asbury United Methodist Church here on East Avenue.
Great friends at Asbury. Welcome again, Helen. Benjamin Cox, how you doing, sir?
Pretty good. How are you? How you doing, preacher? Pastor Cox from the Faith Leadership Roundtable.
Welcome, Pastor Cox and the Faith Leadership Roundtable. It's a pleasure to have you guys. My good friend Jeff Hill, how you doing, sir?
All is well. Jeff Hill representing Champion Academy Rock and Jefferson Avenue SDA Church.
Wonderful. Welcome, sir. Leslie.
Hello, all. Leslie Gordon Ogden. I'm here, supervisor of the Person in Crisis team.
Well, welcome. Vanessa.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Hobbs and I'm with Ibero.
Welcome. Carla Phillips. Jalil.
Good evening, Jalil Mutakim, Citizens Action Special Projects Coordinator.
Welcome, sir. Miss Aaliyah.
Good evening, I'm Aaliyah Hinton Williams with the Crisis Intervention Services Unit, City of Rochester.
Welcome. Jackie. Jackie, congratulations, Jackie.
Sorry about that. Hi, this is Jacqueline D. Griffin, recently elected to possibly serve as the commissioner of the school board.
Welcome. Louis, I know you're on the phone. Got Louis.
Hi, Louis Aponte from American Medical Response AMR and Josiah Neighborhood Association.
Welcome, Louis. We're praying for your mom, brother. Jason.
Hi, I'm Jason Probilski. I'm a professor of anthropology at Whitman College in Washington State, but I'm in Rochester right now working on a project looking at survivors of gun violence. And so I'm just trying to learn as much as I can through this group and been following its work.
Welcome. We appreciate you here studying us. That's a good thing. We can't wait to see what you publish and what comes out of your research. Kathy.
With Rochester, Brady United Against Gun Violence and the Rock Coalition Against Gun Violence.
Captain Muir.
Good evening, everybody. Captain Muir with the Rochester Police Department.
Welcome, sir. Alexander Word.
I'm Alex Word. I'm a neighborhood specialist with the city of Albany.
Albany in the house. How come y'all came deep? Victor.
Hi, I'm Victor Saunders, the Mayor's Advisor on Violence Prevention Programs and the Director of the Office of Violence Prevention, City of Rochester.
Welcome. Aretha.
Hi, I'm Rita Rogers with Rise Up Rochester.
Welcome. Kavo. Be careful, Kavo, when you're driving. Go ahead.
Serve Coordinator, Rise Up Rochester.
Welcome, welcome. Nolan.
Pastor Nolan Williams, I got to connect God.
Hey, Pastor.
Faith.
How are you? Welcome, sir. All right. Let me see. Who did I meet? Gloria. I think it's Gloria.
Gloria from Prayer House Church, God by Faith.
Welcome, Gloria. Tony.
Good evening, Tony Nelson, 585 Snug Program Manager.
Welcome, Tony. Asim Johnson.
Good evening, Asim Johnson, a healthcare advocate, a healthcare education project representing 1199 SEIU and the Greater New York Hospital Association.
Yeah, 1199 in the house, man. Welcome. Appreciate you. May Rogers.
May Rogers from Rochester, New York, Prayer House Church of God by Faith.
Prayer House in the house. Welcome. Let me see. Am I missing? There's another Rogers. Is that Ed?
Oh, sorry. I'm also here with Jacob Gild Mahoney on behalf of Assemblymember Damon Meeks.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Welcome. Jareth Hanson.
Good evening, everyone. Ureth Dunko Hansen from Monroe County Department of Public Health.
Thank you. Welcome. Monroe County in the house, the state's in the house, the city's in the house, Albany's in the house, advocates in the house, city school district in the house, preachers in the house. We got everybody we need to get this job done, I believe. If I miss somebody, please chime in. I can only see so much here. Go ahead and chime in if I miss you.
Councilmember Lightfoot, this is City Council Lachey D. Harris, representing the South District.
Councilmember Harris, congratulations again. Welcome. Part of our media team as well. Councilmember Harris runs all of our media team. And we appreciate her and the work that she does with our Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition. Did I miss anybody else?
Hi, I'm Falake Oyedokun, and I'm a neighborhood specialist with the City of Albany.
All right, all right. Okay, Albany, we hope you come in with a lot of solutions because y'all deep. All right, so anybody else? Did I miss anyone else? All right, before
Dr. Fred Johnson, First Genesis Baptist Church.
Dr. Johnson, man, how are you, man? God bless your precious heart, man. It's so good to see you, brother, or hear you. Yeah. And I think I saw Althea Tyson is connecting. Give her an opportunity to connect, and then you can Althea Tyson, you want to introduce yourself? You're on mute, huh? There you go.
Evening.
Good evening. Just name and department or organization you're representing.
Althea Tyson, Prayer House Church of God by Faith.
All right, all right. Prayer House, we deep too, Albany. I think we might be close with you, neck to neck with y'all. All right, so I like to have fun, guys. I think that we can also smile, have fun, and do this work. This work is very can be very daunting and troubling, of course. And we don't make light of it. However, before we go any further, in that note and in that vein, we always take a moment of silence to acknowledge and respect the lives of individuals who've lost their lives to this violence and gun violence, particularly within our community, whether it's this year or previous years, and just respect those families. So at this time, I would ask if you would please, sir, please, ma'am, just join me for a brief moment of silence to acknowledge not only the victims, but the everyone that's impacted by the trauma associated with violence and gun violence in our community. Thank you. Could you sign in, please? So just for those of you who it's your first time coming to a Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition meeting, once again, I'm Willie Lightfoot, the chairman, city councilman, and founder of the Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition. Our goal with the Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition is very simple: to educate, advocate, and eradicate against gun violence and violence within our community. We are dedicated to working to eradicate this gun violence in our community, but we realize that we cannot do this alone. Typically, with our Rock Against Gun Violence monthly coalition meetings, we typically, if all of you should have received a agenda that we have for tonight, and we will go over our agenda as expected. Typically, our meetings are typically only about an hour and 15 minutes long. And when I get into the process a little bit later, we will be discussing our process going forward, coming off of the gun violence summit that we had and the gun trace data report that we just recently released to the community. And based on that, we have some very clear objectives that this coalition, working with you and other partners, this is going to be a community-driven process that we'll get into and talk about later. But just so you understand kind of how the process works with these meetings, typically, we typically have an update by our internal partners. So our internal partners that are represented here today, we'll have them go do a very brief overview or whatever they want to share with today. Typically, they share kind of where they are with RPD, with our crisis intervention team, and then Vic Saunders with our advisor to violence prevention to the mayor. And so we're going to have them go in the order of RPD first, crisis intervention, and then advisor Vic Saunders, advisor to the mayor, violence prevention. And then we're going to ask our Mr. Karan from the ATF to do a brief presentation.
Oh my God, seriously?
Tony, can you mute yourself? Tony, can you mute yourself, please?
I'm sorry.
It's all right. So we'll ask Louis Aponte too. Can you mute yourself? I'm going to ask if you're not speaking, please, sir, please, ma'am, please mute your phone and or your device. Thank you so much. Just so that everyone can have an enjoyable experience. And so at this time, we're going to turn it over to Captain Muir.
All right. As I said before, good evening, everybody. I'll be brief because I see that we have a full schedule today. Going over, well, year-to-date homicides, we're at 22 for the city of Rochester. Shooting victims are at 133 with 116 separate incidents. Total guns taken off the streets thus far this year is 396. It might be a little bit higher than that right now, but that was reported a couple of days ago. So probably right around 400 for that. Handguns, 231. Long guns, 122. And out of all those guns, ghost guns were 43. For the month of June, we had 77 guns taken off the streets. 7 of those were ghost guns. And I think everybody's familiar with what ShotSpotter is, but if you're not, I'll just give you a brief overview. It's a system of microphones set up throughout the city to record gunfire and notify the police department when there's been gunfire. To date, for June, we had 227 this year in the month of June. 227 reported shot spotter, I guess markings is what you'd call it, as opposed to 196 from last year. So we're up a little bit with regard to the shot spotter indicators. And I believe that's what I have for you as far as statistics. So that's all I have, Councilman Lightfoot.
Okay, does anyone have any, we'll take maybe one question for Captain Mura. Does anybody have any questions for Captain Mura? Kathy, go ahead.
Hi, Captain Mura.
Hello.
Captain Mura, I'm wondering if you are seeing an increase in the illegal possession of guns that you're retrieving, that you're recovering. And if so, what can you tell us about conversations you're having that you're allowed to discuss with us with ATF as to how that's going to be managed? When I looked at the gun trace report, I saw 3 consecutive years of an increase in illegal possession of crime guns. I'm concerned. I'm worried about law enforcement. I'm worried about the community safety. And I'm worried that there's this increase and I'm not clear about what our strategy is in addressing that. And so I'm wondering if that's something you could address.
I can address it from a personal opinion. Quite frankly, I can't tell you. I know that we're addressing it by going after the violent offenders in the city of Rochester. When we know that somebody has guns, we identify them and we go after them and we arrest them and we take those guns off the street. What happens after they're arrested is up to the court system and, quite frankly, Albany and, you know, all the laws that we have in New York State. So from a police department standpoint, we're going after the shooters and after the violent offenders. We're arresting them. Our arrests are up. Our guns taken off the streets are up. But that's all we can do as a police department. So from that point on, I would just ask you to ask that same question to legislators and give us any help that we can get.
So I agree with you. I'm worried that it's going up and I'm not clear about what the plan is about addressing it. I think that we need to start drawing a line. It's not okay to accept law enforcement officers being shot and killed in their cars while they're on duty. That's not okay. It's not normal and we need to address it. I'm glad to see that Mr. Curran's here. I want you to know, Captain Mura, New York State, our legislators did pass a law last year, S4970A1023. It allows the New York State Police to go in to inspect gun dealers, the 5% who are supplying 90% of the crime guns you're taking off the street. And actually they make up, if you look at who the top 30 supply sources were for the crime guns to Rochester, 53% came from Monroe County gun dealers. I am not directing my anxiety towards you or my concern or feelings of being upset towards you, Captain Mura, because I know you're doing your job and your officers are paying with their lives. I want to know what's the plan for reducing the illegal possession of crime guns and an explanation for how are they getting into dangerous hands.
Kathy, that is a discussion I believe that we're going to have collectively together that's part of our action plan is our recommendations that we're going to be submitting to not only the city, but to others as well too. And I'm going to get into that little bit of that a little bit later. This meeting,
thank you, Captain Mura.
I understand your passion and I too share in that passion. And I will tell you, we're going to be very intentional about our recommendations that we're going to be presenting as this coalition. And so we're going to get into that process a little bit later, okay?
Okay, thank you, Captain Mura.
Now, Jalil, you had your hand up. I'll take the last question for Captain Mura because we do have quite a bit on the agenda today. Go ahead.
I thank you, Captain Miller. Also, Kathy, I appreciate your concerns in regards to the issues of gun violence and the amount of guns that's in the community. I would like to know from Captain Miller, what is your collaboration with ATF in respects to the guns coming into Rochester, particularly from out of state or from other places? How are you doing interdiction in regards to guns coming into the community at large? Thank you.
Captain Mira, this is Mike. If you want me to weigh in, I can do that as well.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was just going to suggest that very same thing. You know, Agent Curran works directly with Sergeant Mark Lee within the Rochester Police Department, and I will have him respond to that question. He'd probably be better served to give you the appropriate answer than I would.
Yeah, I have a presentation I'm going to do later on, but in response to this question, I appreciate everyone's passion for this. Every single firearm that gets recovered by Rochester Police gets traced by ATF. And we look for certain trends and we investigate it. We have a violent crime task force here. In addition to that, every single firearms arrest gets screened for federal prosecution. Since last August, we've had 100 people arrested on federal charges with our program. But we don't just pick random people out. We have a crime gun intelligence investigative strategy. So what we're doing, we're trying to get the shooters out of the community and put charges on them. So in addition to tracing every firearm, we review every single case that gets brought by Rochester Police for federal prosecution.
Okay, thank you.
Can I do a little follow-up right quick? Because
sure, absolutely.
I don't think that Mr. Curran, Officer Curran, or Agent Curran answered the question in regards to interdiction of those coming from out of state.
Sure. I'm sorry, I missed that part.
Thank you.
So we look for trends in the firearms traces that we do. Every single firearm in the city of Rochester and also the outer outlying communities, we trace those. So we look for trends. So if we find out the firearms, and we also have proactive stuff going on. We have a lot of confidential informants out in the street giving us information. So that together is our crime gun intelligence strategy. So what we look for is guns. If they're coming from the area, we'll address those here in the state. If they're coming from out of the area, we can do interdictions as they're coming in. We've had guns coming into the city of Rochester. We've taken them off as they're coming into New York State as they're coming in. It doesn't get a lot of publicity. We also have offices all throughout the United States. So there's some other states that have, the gun laws aren't as strict. So I've sent agents and task force officers from Rochester Police out to different states, and we've gotten in front of this firearm trafficking. We've taken charges out in different states. We've taken charges out here, and we're doing everything we can. Unfortunately, a lot of guns are here already. They've been coming in for a long time. So we're also looking for all different trends. Once a gun gets sold by a retail purchase by a gun dealer, that's where our tracing stops. So if a gun gets recovered, we got to do the investigative legwork on that. We have a very passionate task force here. Everyone works very hard, and we're doing everything we can to stop violent crime and gun trafficking.
All right, no, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. We have a lot to cover tonight, and we have a limited amount of time. I just want to reiterate for those who this is your first time attending a Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition meeting. I'm asking you, please, sir, please, ma'am, if you would put your name and your email address in the chat. That would be very helpful in us reaching out to you in the future for the future meetings that we will be having for our planning sessions for our action plan. Tonight is not a planning session. I want to be very clear about that. Tonight is not a planning session. Tonight is a regular meeting, and it's a recap from our summit. It's our regular meeting combined with our regular meeting and a recap. And then we're going to talk process for how we're going to be doing our planning sessions in the meetings going forward, okay? But it was important that we kind of reconvene and got everyone back together as a result of the meeting that we had at the church and the unveiling, of course, of the gun trace data report. So it was important that we gave people an opportunity, time to digest that. Some of you probably may have not still had an opportunity to read that report. And we want to make sure that you have time to do that. because a lot of our recommendations, some of them will come out of that, and some of them will just come individually, organically, from us as a collective, okay? It will be a community-driven action plan that we're going to be presenting, and I'm going to be getting into details of that very soon. So thank you. Captain Mura has stepped off. We're going to go along our agenda to our next presenter, which will be the crisis intervention team, Miss Aaliyah and her team. Thank you.
Good evening again, everyone. I'm Aaliyah Henson Williams, and Crisis Services is just continuing to actively address and support crises that occur in the community. Leslie is going to be able to give us some specific numbers for June and what our unit was able to accomplish during the month of June. But right now we're focusing on two things. That's increasing our community engagement and outreach. And so we're actively participating outside of the partners that we currently have, making sure that we're visible in the community and that our community members are aware of the work that we do. And we're also focusing on meaningfully expanding our work within the team. So we are building our specialty teams for the unit. Those are going to be teams that work on specific areas of crisis, going beyond mental health. But we'll be focusing on homelessness, youth services, domestic violence, and those team members will have specialized training and be able to more directly and intently focus on those areas. The last piece that I have is that, although we do know that even one homicide is too many, we are grateful that the homicide numbers have decreased over the past 2 years, which has given our homicide response team an opportunity to kind of refocus and make sure that we're available and able to extend ourselves in the community when that work is needed. Leslie?
Okay, hello once again. The PIC is doing very, PIC is doing very well. Last month, which was June, we responded to 260 calls. That was calls with and without the police. As far as the homicide, our community support team was able to assist with 6 homicides, so providing resources. Also, PIC has also been, out in the community. We have been passing out literature, doing outreach, and we'll continue to do that. We have also attended some of the, festivals that we had within the last month, last few weeks. We have attended the Juneteenth. We tabled that event, and we're going to continue to be out in the community, passing out literature, making sure we let the community know the resources that Community in Crisis Services are here to provide for everyone. So we just look forward to working with our community partners and to continue to do the work.
All right, thank you, thank you. We're going to keep moving right along to Vic Saunders, the advisor to the mayor on violence prevention.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Our Office of Violence Prevention, we are happy today. We rolled out our ROC OVP campaign, which is basically an opportunity to be able to not only allow city residents to be seen as far as the different circumstances that we are all as city residents having to deal with through a video format, but allows for residents as well as young people who generally don't like to have a lot of reading material. We choose wisdom as our tagline for this particular campaign, with a QR code on bus shelters, on billboards, radio. We're going to try and saturate the situation to allow for young people to be able to find resources and alternatives within the community that can allow them an opportunity to find other ways to be able to access resources and alternatives that can lead them away from situations that would have them in a stolen vehicle, committing violent crime, anything along those lines. We are, in a situation now where we want individuals within the community to be able to access those resources as quickly as possible without the the slightest bit of red tape. A lot of the young people that we have come in contact with and who we work with have stated that, you know, they were bored, they didn't have anything to do. And when we tell them what's available, they said, well, we didn't see that. Well, we're hoping that that's no longer the case. We're hoping that by just clicking on the QR code on their phone, it'll take them right to our OVP, our ROC OVP website, and immediately start a video done by a local filmmaker, Shabaka Muassar, who also put together the Young Black Male production a few years back. Phenomenal local filmmaker. And they'll be able to see individuals within the community that they know. And that's a big component of it. Being able to see people that they know, that they have had contact with, been in the barbershops with, things of that nature. I had forwarded the video to Willie. I'm not on my normal city equipment. Willie, would you be able to show that video and share?
Did you put it in the chat, Vic?
Emailed it.
Emailed it? Okay, let me keep talking, brother. Let me work on it.
Yeah, so right now.
Email it to my city email,
Yes.
Okay.
So in our Office of Violence Prevention Programs right now, we are looking to fill a position for our Office of Neighborhood Safety Coordinator. We also have reentry services within our office, and Pathways to Peace, which is our flagship outreach program since 1998, is doing phenomenal work. We are continuing the work of one of the greatest managers of outreach that I've ever experienced, Anthony Hall, who resigned from us, and we find that to be a great loss. We're continuing our peace barbecues, which have been highly successful. We will continue that 2 weeks from Friday. This coming Saturday, we have a Rep the Rock basketball tournament for 17 and under youth and 14 and under youth at 6th Street Park. We're going to have food, tabling, DJ right behind Jordan Health Center. We invite everybody to come out and have a great time. It's just an opportunity for kids to come out and just be kids and not be put in a situation by peers to deal with any negative behaviors. So we're really looking forward to continuing the summer peacefully, allowing our kids to really grow in the fact that a lot of the young people that we deal with are now involved in our Summer of Opportunity program. The majority of our young people, you know as well as I do, although these kids who are stealing cars get a lot of press, 90 or higher % of our children are doing a phenomenal job. They are involved in activities, they are employed, they are doing some great things. And we want to give them options and alternatives to be able to explore for them to have an even better time this summer before school starts back. So that's where we are right now. We're very excited about the number of people who have already accessed the website as a way of just trying to find out what does this mean, this majestic lion on this billboard with Choose Wisdom and a QR code. The interest is driving them to really find out what that QR code stands for. And then when they hit the video, it really holds their attention. So I'm very excited about that. We are also working on a plan. We're also working on a plan with the county and other stakeholders to assist in offering case management and supports to the families that are dealing with some of these young people who have gone through the family court system for stolen vehicles and other offenses and have only received these appearance tickets. We understand that more intervention is needed, and we want to be able to offer that intervention in a way that would allow these young people to be able to find alternatives and resources that would lead them away from the type of activity could escalate to someone getting injured or killed in our community. And first and foremost, we don't want any innocent people getting run into by a juvenile stealing a vehicle and driving wild in our streets. So we're definitely looking for a concerted effort from the city and county to be able to address that and some of these young people. So we're excited.
All right, yeah, I wasn't able to find that video, Vic, but we'll next time maybe we'll get an opportunity to show it. We're gonna thank you, Vic, for the work that you do, Aaliyah, for the work that you do. Once again, I wanted just to give the people that their first time attending a Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition meeting, I wanted you guys to get a bit of flavor of how these meetings go. And we typically start them in the way of internal education and information to our community, because oftentimes we don't hear about what the individuals internally are doing in regards to this work. So here you have an opportunity. You hear from the Rochester Police Department, you hear from our crisis intervention team, who was very new work that we did. We're here with other individuals that have joined us. Former Mayor Lovely Warren is here. Some of that work started under her administration with changing the way city government does business. We typically did not get into the human service business. That's typically business that the county does. But you can see now the work that Vic is doing, the work that Aaliyah and her team is doing, the city of Rochester is doing much, and the work that this council President Miguel Melendez is here as well, that this council supports a lot of human service type services that we are providing to our community. And oftentimes we don't hear enough, or the community doesn't really understand how much work is being done typically every day. So that's why these meetings is an opportunity also for us to educate the community about what's going on internally. Of course, we can always do more, and we're always looking to do more. But there are things that are happening and going on periodically throughout the day. I'm going to give some time to Michael Curran from ATF. We're very fortunate to have as many partners as the coalition has. And I would say to you guys, since the pandemic, this is the largest attended meeting that we've had in over 3 years. We have over 42 on the call. We have over about 5 or 6 here. So it's close to 50 people who have attended this meeting, and it is being streamed live on the city council YouTube page, as well as our council member Lachey Harris, who is part of our media team, has shared it on our Facebook page as well too. So this meeting is out there. People are in all of our meetings are done the same way. They're all hybrid. They're all done both in person, on Zoom, and streamed on YouTube. So we're intentional about being very inclusive, very open and transparent about what's happening in our community. And we need all hands on deck when it comes to educating, advocating, and eradicating against gun violence within our community. So I'm going to turn it over to Michael Curran, and then I'm going to go into, for respect of your time, I'm going to go into our process going forward for planning and implementing our action plan. And then I'll take any questions at the end, and then we'll let you go. Okay, Michael, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for having me. I was planning on coming in person. I had to go out of town. I'm visiting family, but I didn't want to miss this. So I appreciate that I can zoom in. As I've talked to people in the community, I've realized a lot of people just don't know what ATF does here in Rochester, or even what ATF generally does. I just got about 5 minutes worth of stuff. I know it's been a long meeting so far. I'll try to get through as fast as I can, but I just want to let everyone know what we do. So here in Rochester, ATF leads a violent crime task force that's made up of members of the Rochester Police Department and other local, state, and federal agencies. So what we do with the Violent Crime Task Force, we use crime gun intelligence, which I talked about earlier. Let's make sure we are investigating the drivers of Sorry about that, just went out for a second.
All right. You're muted. You're muted, Mike. You're muted. There you go.
Sorry about that. It just went out for a second. I apologize. So talking about crime gun intelligence, one of our cornerstones of crime gun intelligence is a program ATF has. It's called NIBIN. It's an abbreviation for the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network. And that's ATF's unique national system for ballistics imaging. This is the only database of its kind in the country. It's used by law enforcement agencies and labs all over the country. So the system works like this. Every time someone shoots a semi-automatic firearm, two things come out: a bullet and a cartridge casing. So the firearm leaves a unique mark on the cartridge casing. It's like a ballistic fingerprint. When we go to a crime scene, we collect cartridge casings, or if there's a shot spotter activation, and there's casings, we collect them. And these casings are put into the NIBIN database. Once we put the casings we find at crime scenes into the NIBIN database, it compares them to other crime scenes in Rochester and also all over the country. So this can tell us whether the firearm was used in another crime locally or around the country. So it can link the gun to a particular source, gang, or even a specific person. So this NIBIN system gives us very helpful investigative leads with non-fatal shootings, homicides, and any type of violent crime with firearms. So at this point, there is one NIBIN terminal at the Monroe County Crime Laboratory right here in Rochester that's active. We just had a second one delivered to the Public Safety Building through the Monroe Crime Analysis Center. This is a real game changer. This means our capacity is going to be doubled for ballistic stuff here. So that's something that I think should be noted by everybody. It's a great accomplishment. And you're going to notice a lot of things come up, a lot more matches getting done faster. So ATF also investigates firearms trafficking, which is also part of our crime gun intelligence strategy. So ATF has a National Tracing Center. It tells us who, when, and where a firearm is purchased. And this information can help identify firearms traffickers, because we find multiple firearms at different crime scenes and they trace back to the same purchaser. It's a good chance that person's a firearms trafficker. So we investigate that person further. Right here in Rochester, every single crime gun is traced. We work with the Rochester Police Department closely and other agencies as well too. So what this trace tells us is the first part of the firearms history. Unfortunately, once a firearm enters the illegal market, there's no records of where it's transferred from. So the trace information is very helpful and important information, but it's not everything. Our investigators have to do some legwork on it, and we do that. And also right here in Rochester, we've changed our techniques as crime has changed. For years, ATF, Rochester Police, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and DA's office will meet once a week to review local firearms arrests. In response to increased gun violence and homicides in 2022, ATF, in partnership with the Rochester Police Department and the U.S. Attorney's Office, we modified our screening process and began screening all gun arrests in the city of Rochester almost instantaneously. So went from once a week to virtually on the spot. So ATF, RPD, and U.S. Attorney's Office assigned duty agents and attorneys who were and still are on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to respond and review in real time every Rochester police arrest that involves a firearm in the city of Rochester. Since this program began end of last summer, approximately 100 individuals have been arrested by ATF on federal charges and by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Over 90% of those are detained pending resolution of their cases. We use our crime gun intelligence to select targets, make sure that we're getting guys that are affecting the violence in the community. And we also work firearms cases proactively. So we have our own cases where we utilize confidential informants and act as undercover law enforcement officers. So I can't get too much into this for obvious reasons, but we work the streets of Rochester to get street level intelligence and make undercover purchases and meetings. So this proactive work that we do together with our crime gun intelligence strategy makes ATF unique and allows us to target the most violent offenders. So our data-driven approach gives us very helpful investigative leads, but we can't close these cases, or more importantly, try to prevent new shootings without help from the community. Information, whether it comes from ballistics, law enforcement, concerned citizen, is crucial to our efforts. And we need to help everyone at this meeting. So this meeting is a great accomplishment. I'm glad so many people are here to create a culture where people feel comfortable sharing information with us. So our partnerships between ATF, other law enforcement agencies in the community are already deepening, especially since the increase in gun violence that we had last year, over the last couple of years.
You blacked out again, Mike.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, there you
Got
go.
me back again?
Yep, you wrapping up though, right?
Yeah, I got a little bit more left. That's all. 30 seconds. So this type of meeting is a great example of how these partnerships are deepening. We've already seen an impact on shootings. Trends have shown a decrease. Like Captain Mira said, and this morning, Mayor Evans had a press conference. Year to date, you compare Rochester 2022 to 2023, Gun-related homicides are down 45%. Shootings are down 26%. Shooting victims are down 28%. Obviously, this is too high. Still work to do, but I just want everyone out there to know that our task force is very hardworking. We're doing everything we can to fight violent crime here. I apologize if I talk too much. I want to get a lot of information out there and while everyone know what we do. I really appreciate the time.
No, thank you, Michael. We appreciate you coming and joining our table with our Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition partners. We really appreciate your partnership, and we'll continue to. We want you to continue to be a part of this conversation and discussion. This is a community conversation. We need all hands on deck, and that's exactly the approach that we're coming from. So I thank you for that, and I'm going to get into my particular report to our coalition here, and I wanted you guys to have a sense of how things will be, how things are typically with our meetings, but going forward, our meetings are going to be a little bit different. And what I mean by that, I'll be very intentional about explaining to you our steps going forward. So, and let me recap just a little bit. We started off with our coalition working towards, with the help of so many here, Kathy and so many others, working to get a gun trace data report. We were successful in getting that report released to this public. It was a redacted report, which we don't necessarily approve of it being redacted. And so that's something that we're gonna be, as part of our planning process, is the work with our advocacy pieces around our difference of opinion around laws when it comes to gun trace data reporting and this information being public. As you heard from Michael Coran, Ms. Coran, that all of the gun information is traced. So this is information that we believe should be public, and that's going to be a part of this process as well. So we released a report. We've given individuals opportunity and time. So the thing becomes, we had our summit where we got our faith community involved. We have many of our pastors are on this call. Faith Alliance is on this call. Faith Roundtable is on this call. Pastor Johnson's on this call. Many prayer houses on this call. Many different faith leaders are here, and many more will be joining as we go forward. So what we're planning to do, and what this council has, Council Melendez and the staff here, the council staff, Council Lachey Harris, and all of us are working towards doing, is we want to have a comprehensive, public-driven plan that is sparked from the recommendations from the gun trace data report. However, the report is not the only place that we want to receive recommendations from. We want to get recommendations from the coalition and the community, which the coalition is the community. Okay, so we're inviting all individuals. That's why we're being very open and transparent with these meetings going forward, and we will continually doing that going forward. So what does that look like? Tonight, I wanted you to see how a regular meeting goes. I wanted to recap from our summit. Part of one of the goals of the summit was also recruitment, was part of that goal, to recruit new members to the coalition. I believe not only were we successful, and we had over 150 attend the summit. We had folks come from all over the country. Brady was very helpful. The individuals, Pastor Hines and his crew from down there, Pastor Gilmore and various others, Monroe from Brooklyn, and the Clergy for Safe Cities National Committee was on board. And now we have somewhat of the framework that they gave us, plus the framework we already currently have, plus the recommendations from the Brady. Now we want to get recommendations also from the community. That's you guys. I already see you having these conversations in the chat already, which is wonderful. That's exactly what we're going to be doing in the next meeting. In the next meeting, which you should have in your agenda, and I did post the agenda in the chat, the next meetings that we have will be August 14th. Now at that meeting, you can pretty much gauge probably about 2 hours, okay? We will not have updates as what you heard before here tonight. It won't be updates. We're gonna go directly into the planning process for our action plan. Our staff will be working with us. We're gonna have facilitators. The meeting will be hybrid as it is now. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not trying to brag or boast or be funny, but I think I got the council president here and former Mayor Lovely Warren is here as well. I don't believe we've done these type of meetings before quite this way, where we're in chambers and we're hybrid and we're streaming and we're doing all this stuff at the same time. So that is a bit of a logistical challenge. So I want you to know that we're going to be as transparent and open as we possibly can be, but to be as safe. Now, we've had town halls, virtual town halls, don't get me wrong, but this is a little bit of a different type of situation. And so we want to, of course, we got to be safe. We want to make sure that we're not presenting an unsafe environment with Zoom bombing, and I'm speaking specifically to that. And so we want to make sure that we're being safe, but we're also being transparent and inclusive. So at our next meeting, prior to the next meeting, you will receive an email. That's why I'm asking all of you for your first time. Those who are in person, I'm asking them to sign in tonight here in person. Those who are on Zoom, I'm asking you to please, sir, please, ma'am, put your name and your email address in the chat, because that's how we're going to be communicating with you via your email. You're going to get correspondence from us prior to the next meeting on August 14th. That correspondence will tell you exactly what our process is going to look like and how we're going to go forward. When you come into that meeting, be prepared to go to work. So we're asking you to come with your solution. These are going to be solution-driven recommendation meetings. We do not want to have meetings talking about the problem. We already know what the problem is. People are getting shot way too many, way too often. People are dying way too much, way too often. We want to talk about solutions. Now, these are brainstorming ideas. There is no bad idea. We want to exhaust the gamut of ideas. Now, here's the thing. We're going to categorize those ideas in 8 different areas, because most people think all roads lead to City Hall, but they don't. A lot of these roads lead to other places. And so what we need to make sure that we identify is, are these solutions, are they going to be something that is federal driven? Is it something that's state driven? Is it something that's county driven? Is it something that's city driven? Is it something that's Rochester City School District should be a part of? Is it something that's faith-based? Because we want our faith-based community to be involved and to be engaged and to be intentional. Is it a CBO, a community-based organization? Is it something that should lie at the feet of a community-based organization or a recommendation to our community-based organizations? That's the urban out here, our bureaus on the call. That's the various agencies that we have out here who service our community every day. Is it a family issue? Because we're not going to ignore the individual and the family responsibility in all of this as well too. They have a role. And we have to be accountable all across the board. Not just politicians should be accountable. We all have to be accountable. But this coalition wants to present a recommendation action plan that is comprehensive and that it would be recommendations that may sit at all of those individual places. And we will have priority. We will prioritize the top 3 priorities in each area, similar to like the Race Commission report. If you ever had an opportunity, I sat on that commission, it would be very similar, and the structure of that was very productive. And so I'm taking a little bit from that structure. And so we will prioritize what we believe can be done within the next 6 months to a year, and then we'll look at going out further, and we'll have timelines, and then we'll have actual evaluation methods built into the plan so that we can hold all levels of government, CBOs, faith-based, and families accountable for the plan that we produce. I would like to see this plan presented to the public in October. So we have a lot of work to do in a very short period of time. As you can see in your agenda, the next meetings, and I'll say them out loud so that you'll know, will be August 14th and the 21st. We typically meet once a month. We're moving to twice a month so that we can get this work done. September will be September 12th and the 18th. We hope to have this plan pretty much wrapped up by the end of September. And then our staff, or by that last meeting or that 6th 18th week. Actually, we'd like to have majority of it done by the meeting on the 12th. And then that meeting on the 18th, hopefully we can have a draft already prepared. And then by our meeting on the 19th, we'll be discussing when we will be releasing this to the public. Okay, so that is the overview, high level process. And at this time, I'll take any questions from any individuals who may have any questions internally or on Zoom. You can unmute yourself and ask your question. Thank you.
I want to repeat a question I posed earlier.
Yes.
Like Mr. Lightfoot. I want to know where the gun dealers are in this coalition and any other businesses that are engaged that have influence on some of the youth hangout areas. Certainly perhaps the hospitality industry needs to get more engaged with you all. And just the gun dealers themselves to know that they could be a part of the solution and not necessarily the only difficult supplier.
Helen, did you put that in the chat?
No.
Okay, if you don't mind, if you're able to, just so for sake of memory, but of course we have it recorded and we have it documented, but if you don't mind, you can put that in the chat and we'll make sure we capture that, and we'll have our staff for the next meeting. We will reach out to them and we will definitely, we have no problem with this table is open to anyone who's solution driven and based. And before I get to you, Kathy, I think Jalil had his hand up and then Kathy.
Thank you, Mr. Lightfoot. One of the things that I'd like to recount here is the issues of the intervention by RTF and RDP, particularly for out-of-state weapons and guns coming into the city. Naturally, if we're able to do the interdiction and prevent them from coming from out of state, then that will definitely limit the capacity from which people can obtain weapons here. The other thing is this here, you talk about solution-based proposals. My question is, do you want those proposals written proposals, or how do you want them brought to the group?
Yeah, so first part of it sounds like one of the recommendations you were mentioning, actually a recommendation. So that's exactly what we want. What you just said was a recommendation, right? If we stop them from coming in, then that helps us in our cause, right? The second part is absolutely we want it in writing. And the reason why we want it in writing is because we're going to deliver this to all of our partners in government, federal, state, county, city school district. I've been doing this a long time, Brother Jalil, and one of the issues and problems people keep saying is, well, nobody's doing anything, or we don't know what to do, or where do we go from here? We have to be intentional about, okay, let's start a solution-based process where we can say, we know that everybody has a role. We know that. What role do we as a coalition and as a community feel that they have? That's our opportunity and anyone's opportunity who feel like they want to, first of all, this is a room, it's a safe place to have a voice to be able to say, hey, this is what I think we should be doing. Why aren't we doing this? Why can't we do this? Why can't we? And then let's capture that, right? Let's capture all of that in writing and paper and put tangible, actual action items to what we believe that should be happening on those levels and that can be done. And there's some things that city council can do tomorrow. There's some things that county can do tomorrow. There's some things that the federal government can do tomorrow, right? So, and then we got to hold them accountable to say, okay, here's what the community, we are, especially elected officials anyway, we're all elected by the community. So if this is coming from a community, you all are community members. If this is coming from the community is saying, it's one thing for me to go and say, well, Willie thinks this is the solution. No, I have my ideas of some of the solutions that I believe are part of it, but then other solutions may be coming from the community as well too. So we want to capture as many of those as we possibly can. And we want to see what can we actually implement. We want to have an actual plan that we can hold each other accountable for. And then from there, I think we can actually start getting more done. I'm not saying people aren't doing anything. People are doing stuff, but clearly we need to do more. And so I think that if we collectively come together and put together a comprehensive path forward, that we can see some positive results that come out of that. So written, absolutely written. Kathy?
I just wanted to respond to Helen's comment about the importance of having gun dealers here. I actually think we need to have all businesses represented here, not just gun dealers. And I would like to just add 2 points about that. Agent Curran is here. He is the critical component to our moving forward in having an honest, frank discussion about the role of gun dealers as the first line of defense against guns getting into dangerous hands. So Agent Curran is here. He is our most critical component. He interfaces with gun dealers across the entire state of New York and beyond. The other component that I think we need here is someone from the New York State Police. That would be awesome if we could get somebody from the New York State Police, because they have a role in the jurisdiction of guns getting into dangerous hands. And then finally, just wanted to say, just as a comment, gun dealers have an invested role in making a profit off the guns that they sell. Most gun dealers are law-abiding. A good 90% of them, maybe 80%, I'm not sure. Agent Curran, I know, could correct me on this, but at least 80 to 90% are law-abiding, honest business dealers. We're concerned with the 53% of the top 30 who supplied guns that Captain Mura had to pull off the street. We're concerned with going after them and holding them accountable. And that's, I think, something important for all of us to remember. Gun dealers have a profit-making interest in the sale of firearms. Most are law-abiding. However, there is at least 5% supplying 90% of the crime guns to our street. That's not okay. That is endangering everyone's lives, including the lives of our law enforcement officers. And my point earlier was simply to make that if our law enforcement officers are not safe in their vehicles, how in God's name do we expect the citizens of Rochester to be safe? So we need to go after who the supply sources are and find out what are they doing and stop any dangerous actions that they're engaged in. And we have to do this rigorously and in partnership with Agent Curran, in partnership with the New York State Police, in partnership with the RPD. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
All right, Kathy, thank you. We'll take a couple more questions. I promise you guys I would have you out in less than about an hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes. We're coming up about 10 minutes past the hour, and I'll take it. But I really wanted you to, once again, reconvene, recap from the meeting that we had. And so I'm so excited to have so many of you interested. And from what I'm looking at in the chat, people are brainstorming already about different individuals who should be at this table and whose voices should be heard. And I agree. New York State Police, I agree. The youth, I agree. The key is here, that's where I need you guys' help at. Some of you have different circles that you are connected with. And but once again, I want to be very clear on kind of like the housekeeping rules, if you will. We're not looking to have a complaint sessions. That's not what this is about. Okay, I want to be very clear about that. If people come in here to complain and scream and shout and get all that, we will shut this down and we will not continue with these meetings. These meetings are productive and solution-based recommendation meetings of how do we get these guns off of our streets collectively as a community. How do we do that? And we're looking for, we already know what the problems are. I'm asking you all, please sir, please ma'am, to tell me, what do you think the solution are? What is the recommendation? What do you think should be on the table? What's not being done? What can we do more of? And those are the types of things. Then we want to be able to put those pieces where they belong, right? And then be able to hold individuals accountable. So when they're doing their budgets, spending their money and figuring out what to do, we can say, hey, have you considered this? Consider that. Consider this over here, right? Put your resources here. Put resources over here. And then from there, we can track, evaluate, and report back to this community 6 months, quarterly, a year from now, whatever we decide as a coalition, so that we can really have people held accountable for what's really going on. I have a role to play I'm a business owner. I'm a business owner in one of the most troubled areas in this city, one of the poorest areas in the state of New York, 14611, okay? And so I have a vested interest in this, not only as a city councilman and as a father, but also as a business owner who's financially invested in this community, hiring people from these neighborhoods and community and watching and seeing individuals suffering from the trauma associated with the violence that's happening in our community on a daily basis, okay? And so I'm very passionate. I'm just as passionate about this as everyone else, but I'm tired of talking about the problem. I'm sick of tired of talking about the problem. And I truly want to get to some solutions and some action. I am not about just talk and something sitting on somebody's table of a report, but this will not be that type of situation. Whatever sits on the city, we have the president of city council here. Whatever falls on the city, I guarantee you will be done expeditiously. I guarantee you that. Whatever we can do, we're going to do. We're invested in this. Our president has been at our meetings and continue. You see, we have 3 council members here already. With 2 more, we already got a quorum. We already got 5 votes to get it done. So we're vested in this. We're serious about this. But tonight was not about getting into the planning. I know people are excited about getting into that. I wanted you to get a feel for the meetings, of the direction of how we're going. I want you to see if this is something that you want to be a part of. I see your hand, Christopher. And then I want you to understand how we're going to proceed going forward. We would have a very simple process that our staff will get back to you later. You will see how that process is going to be. And we'll make sure that these meetings move along and that we get everybody's voices heard and that we respect everybody's voice and we'll come up with something. We've done this before. We actually presented an action plan to former Mayor Lovely Warren some few years ago. And a lot of the stuff that you heard today came out from that action plan that this coalition put together, okay? And so it's not like we haven't done this before. We have, but now I think it's more critical now than I think in the past because we've seen this issue rise, not just in Rochester, but all over the country. Christopher, you had your hand up, sir. I want to get to you. I can't hear you, Christopher, for some reason. We can't hear you. We can see you talking, but we can't hear you.
Unmute yourself.
He did unmute, but maybe, do you have your earpieces on? Is it connected to your earpiece? We still can't hear you, sir. Maybe you can log off and log back on.
Can you type in your question?
Type it in the chat, maybe. He logged off. Any other questions? I'll take about a couple more. We'll give Chris an opportunity maybe to log back on. Does anybody have any questions concerning what's going to happen? Have I been very clear tonight about how we're moving forward, hopefully? Councilmember Harris, do you have, I'll give you an opportunity to, say anything. And then Council President Miguel.
I just want to give kudos to you, Lightfoot, and your vision and your steadfast diligence in keeping us moving forward and purposeful in what we're doing. I'll keep my comments brief because I see he's logging back on. And I want to say thank you to all of you who are supporting these efforts. Please know that as council person and a neighborhood person, I'm committed to seeing this through, and we need to be unified in these efforts. We need to be together so we can fight the gun violence in our community. We have to be all on one accord, and Councilmember has given us a roadmap. Councilmember Lightfoot has given us a roadmap on how to get that done. So I hope that you all will remain diligent with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Harris. Christopher, are you back with us, sir?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Christopher. Welcome.
Excellent. All right. So yeah, I just wanted to just make like a recommendation to the group and then just a question I wanted to ask the legislators.
Sure.
To the group, I mean, we live in a country that's the most saturated in weapons than any other country that I know of. And the punitive measures never really helped us a whole lot. But when we look at like why people carry guns, and the majority of gun violence is done with illegal guns anyway. You got to look at, if we're talking about solutions, which I'm absolutely directed at doing, we got to look at the reasons why people pick up guns and carry them in general. It's protection. With a gun comes, in most spaces, power and prestige and respect, and, people are denied that otherwise. And, one of the tools to get it is to pick up a gun. The other thing is, I know that the city has had a certain amount of success with community buyback programs, incentive-based programs. I don't know if there was anything in the works for continuing that, or could there be?
Yes, thank you, Christopher, for your comments. And I will say this is my understanding about gun buybacks. Yes, they have been done in the past. They typically, and this is what I've been told, and if Mr. Curran is on the line, he can verify this if I'm incorrect. But what I was told about the gun buybacks, they're good and they have their purpose, and that's another tool in the toolbox, and we will continually to support those. However, my understanding is that they typically do not get the crime guns from the gun buybacks. That is what I have been told by RPD, but we will continually do them. I know that our Attorney General is big on those. I've seen them do quite a bit. Our churches, as a matter of fact, I think Pastor Johnson is on the call. I think they may have done a couple at his church. So we will continue to support those. We want to look at the data and see, how helpful are they. But we're going to use every recommendation, every tool we need to use in our toolbox. And I do agree with you that there is the symptoms that we tend to be addressing, but oftentimes we really need to be at the root problem. Like, why are people picking up these guns in the first place? I agree. And we saw it in the chat. Somebody mentioned about RMAPI and poverty and how that drives a lot of this as well too. So once again, that's why we have all 8 areas. That's why we're not just going to look at this from a perspective of just the city of Rochester, because we believe that the county has a role, the city school district has a role, parents have a role, community-based organizations have a role, businesses have a role. I mean, everybody, I believe, has a role. And I think that when we start talking about our recommendations, such as you've given about the gun buybacks, doing more of those and looking at the root of the problem, I think when we look at recommendations, we're going to have to begin to really be intentional about saying, okay, who's responsible for these categories in each recommendation, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So we will explore that, and we've annotated. I got it down. I don't think I've seen one in a while, so maybe it's time for us to be advocating for more, or one to be happening soon, and we will do that. Okay. Any more?
If I could ask just one really brief follow-up. In regards to the buyback, is it are people who, so say I bring an illegal gun to buy back, am I subject to prosecution? And if not, is that
no, there's no prosecution to bring in a gun to, that's the whole purpose of it.
Councilman Lightfoot, I just want to add one thing.
Yes, sir.
So one good thing about gun buyback, obviously a lot of crime guns, like you said, but sometimes people have unwanted guns in their house, and that prevents them from getting stolen and getting into the commerce that way. So that's one good thing. And the Attorney General sponsors a lot, so might maybe reach out to them if that's something you want to do. And it's my understanding every gun buyback has different rules, but usually they have something and there's no prosecution with it.
Thank you, and thank you, Chris. Thank you, Mike. Councilmember Melendez.
Yes, thank you, Willie, for your leadership, but then really for your consistency in this space. I think everyone coming together on a monthly basis and now turning this into a real strong action plan is critical, given everything we've been through as a community. I want to thank you all actually for your time, your commitment, your energy. And I know that the next couple of months, we'll be able to come up with some next steps, some critical next steps. And as Councilmember Lightfoot already said, you know, I'm here to act. I mean, I'm here for the staff to support this coalition in whatever way that we can. And I look forward to coming up with some legislative actions that the council can take, but then also some advocacy actions that we as a group can push forward with. So appreciate your time and energy.
We have others that are in person with us. I want to give you an opportunity to, if you want to have words, anything you want to add to the conversation.
Fine.
Ladies, y'all mighty quiet now.
We listening.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna say something.
Yes.
Concerned citizen.
Absolutely.
Who lives in Brighton.
Yes.
And one of the things, I live in an apartment complex, and what I am comfortable with is during.
Can you ask her to step closer to the mic?
Yeah, can you just or speak up or step a
Can you
little
hear me?
closer?
Can you hear me?
Come on right on here. Just talk right there, please.
We can hear you better now.
Okay, I live in Brighton, but I'm a concerned citizen, former county worker who worked there for 25 years. And one of the things with the Kia incident or the stealing of the vehicles, what I have noticed is the Brighton police comes during the day. They parole our area. They parole our area at night, because I've been out late at night. Because again, I think one of the issues is with Rochester police, I keep hearing there's not a lot of police out there anymore. So staff is low. But again, for me, for safety, a senior citizen, I'm almost 60 years old, so I want to be safe on the streets. I don't want to have to think that I have to carry a gun, a taser, or a mace in my purse. I don't want to feel like that. I want to be able to walk out my house, sit on my porch, relax, and know that Brighton Police is doing what they need to do, making the tours, make day, night, afternoon, so that I am safe. Because I don't want to have to carry a gun. I really don't. I don't want to think, oh, girl, I got to get some mace. I got to get a taser. I need to carry a little knife. I don't want to feel like that. Because I don't want somebody using it on me, because I may not know how to use it quick.
Right.
So I just think that one, as we work together as unified group, making our community safe, me as a senior citizen, I represent senior citizens. So I want to be safe. I don't want to think that when I was walking up here, oh my God. No, and that could be in any neighborhood. That is not just the city of Rochester. That's anywhere. So people need to wake up and stop thinking, oh, it's just the city of Rochester. No, these issues are across America.
Absolutely.
So stop, you know, I'm listening to people, Rochester this, Rochester that. Stop damning Rochester once you leave. Rochester is still a beautiful city, it's still beautiful people, and we are concerned about our city.
Amen. That's a nice way to end the meeting. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, we have people on the call here from Albany. We have people on the call here from all different parts of the country. This is not just a Rochester problem. All you got to do is just Google your phone, gun violence in America, and you will see it is happening in some of the most rural places of America that typically have no gun violence are having violence at an all-time high and everything. But that is not an excuse. We live in Rochester. So we want our city not to have any gun violence in it. And until one life is one life taken too many, right? So we're going to continue to work. We know that some of the stats are showing that some of the homicides are down, some of the shootings are down. We know that, but we still have one shooting is one shooting too many, one homicide is one homicide too many. So we're going to continue to work. We have a clear path forward on how we're going to work together. Please, my legislative aide, Andre.Gully at cityofrochester.gov or Willie.Lightfoot at cityofrochester.gov is my email. Please reach out to me with those individuals that you think that you don't see here at this table. I'm asking you to make that personal contact for me, or we will make that contact to those individuals who are not here. Make sure you get that information to us. Those of you who will put that stuff in the chat, we will reach out to those individuals who you recommended. Thank you, Councilman, for putting that email address in there. Please email me individuals that you think should be here, the youth. I'm very excited about that. The city has a whole youth component to it that we'll reach out to Dr. Green for the Department of Recreation. We'll make sure our youth folks that are connected with us are involved as well as too. But we want to include as many people as possible in this process. But we're going to move forward. So be ready, prepared to work in August because we're going to go to work and start with your recommendations. If thoughts come to your mind prior to then, email them to me. Just email your thoughts and we're going to capture all of that. And our staff is going to work diligently to package all that together and put it in a form that we can present. Okay. So once again, it's July for all of you. It's cancer season. God bless all of you cancers out there and you Leos that are coming up. I see some hands waving. Well, God bless you. Happy birthday to all you guys. Enjoy July, your summer. The Cornhill Festival is alive and well. Go and check that out. Be safe.
That ended on Sunday.
It ends on Sunday?
It ended on Sunday.
It ended on Sunday? Oh, it's only a couple of days now?
You missed it. It's always been a weekend.
Okay, I'm so sorry, y'all. Well, Cornhill Festival, you can't go to that. Well, enjoy all the many other festivals. Rochester, one thing we have a lot of festivals. So enjoy your summer and stay safe. Deb is on the call. Congratulations. I think Deb just got recognized. And we want to congratulate Deb.
Thank you.
This is our very own Deb.
I appreciate it. Senator Summer Brook recognizes the importance of volunteerism, and that was very much appreciated. Can I say something really quickly, Willie?
Absolutely,
I know people have to go.
Go ahead.
Just to underscore the importance of coalition like this one, of working together, not in silos. Moms Demand Action has an annual training conference every August. 2,000 volunteers from across the country get together for 2 days of trainings, panel discussions, and speakers. We will be in Chicago this year. We are always in a city that needs a focus on gun violence and gun violence prevention. This year, for the first time, we are able to invite community partners. Local groups in the Hudson Valley, Long Island, New York City, and most important, Rochester, are inviting community partners to join us. We will be having Wanda Ridgway, Kivo Owens, and Serena Cotton coming along with us. The first day of the conference this year is actually a BIPOC Leadership Institute. So there will be a lot of good information being shared, suggestions being made, and we will all come back prepared to hit the ground running here.
All right. Well, congratulations again, Deb, and thank you for sharing that information. Once again, also too, ladies and gentlemen, if you have events that you have coming up, especially things that are related to community-driven, anti-gun violence type of events, those type of things, please email those to us too. We try to keep a community calendar for our coalition so that we don't do events all at the same time. We try to coordinate with each other and support each other around our events. I want to tip my hat to the clergy members that are on the call. We in the month of June, we had several summits, but we didn't do them at the same time. And that was great that we were able to support each other. And I appreciate that. We want to continue to doing that going forward, working together. And like you said, not in silos and working collectively and comprehensively together. So I'm going to sign off, ladies and gentlemen. I say God bless you, God keep you until we see you again in August. Please keep those emails coming, communication coming as we prepare to go to work on this Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition Action Plan. God bless you and good night.
Good night.
Right.